Loss comes in many forms, and usually in unexpected ways. It can be devastating, leaving you facing an uphill struggle to go on with life without someone you thought would always be there. But life does go on, and even in the deepest despair, we can find hope. Welcome to Grief Relief with your hosts, Drs. Gloria and Heidi Horsley, brought to you by the Open to Hope Foundation, helping people find hope after loss. And now here's Dr. Gloria and Dr. Heidi.
Welcome to Grief Relief. I'm your host, Dr. Gloria Horsley, with my co-host and daughter,
Dr. Heidi Horsley.
Well, Heidi, we've got a really important show today, and one that I like because we're going to talk about the Enneagram. Her name's Elizabeth Wagele, and this is her book, The Anagram of Death. And some of you might have seen her other books. She's written many books, and one of them that I'm real familiar with is The Enneagram Made Easy, and that's one that you might try to find your personality type after you hear from Elizabeth today. But also on the show, we're going to have Jan Conlon, and Jan's going to talk about the loss of her mother and how, as a grief counselor, she used the Enneagram to help her through the loss of her mom. And then we're going to have Katie Morford, and she's going to talk to us about cooking and cooking good things and healthy things while you're grieving. And she's written a beautiful book called The Best Lunchbox Ever. So we'll be talking to Katie after this. So it's going to be a good show, huh, Heidi?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Right. Well, let's start with our first guest,
Hi, Elizabeth. Hello.
Welcome to the show today. We're so excited to have you on. And you know, what we wanted to do was to have you start by showing a chart. We're going to put a chart up of the Enneagram and have you kind of go over it and give people an idea of the basic numbers, and then we'll get to a little bit more about how people use it in grieving and why you think it's important. So if we could get that chart up, there it is. Can you see that from there?
Well, I know
you know it.
I know the chart.
Go ahead, Elizabeth.
So first we have the perfectionist, number one. The perfectionist wants to do things right, wants to know how to do things, what is right, and so they can do them right. Moving right along, we have the helper, number two, and this is your type.
Right.
And the helper is real interested in other people, and what can I do for other people, knows people better than they know themselves sometimes. Then we have the three, which is the achiever. And the achiever wants success, and they're very energetic and busy, and they might be the school body president and many other things at the same time. The four is the romantic, very compassionate type, very into feelings and expressing the feelings. So a lot of artists are four romantics. Then we have my type, the observer, wants to know everything. I want to know everything. Reads a lot and kind of objective type.
Well, and I'm thinking maybe that would make a good author.
Yeah, a lot of authors are
I mean, you've
observers.
had these incredible books that have sold a lot, and it makes sense given your personality type.
Right. It does, yeah. And I like to focus in on something, concentrate on something in depth. Which some types don't like to do. I'll get there in a minute. Then the number six is the questioner, and the questioner wants to be safe. And they're safe either by being kind of meek and, you know, take care of me, or by being real strong and I'll get there before the enemy gets to me. So they're kind of a complicated type. The seven is the type that likes to have fun, go to parties, do a lot of different things, keep things kind of light on the surface. And the eight is called the asserter. Did I say the seven was an adventurer?
No, you didn't.
Yeah, the adventure, we call it. And the eight is called the asserter, and they're the toughest of all the types. And they're very confident, know what they want, and make decisions easily. So they end up being bosses a lot.
And I would think some of them are leaders.
Leaders,
I'm thinking, I mean,
definitely.
I live in New York City, and a lot of our leaders, I think, are eights.
Yeah, they're kind of natural-born leaders.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then there's the nine, the peace seeker, and peace seekers don't like conflict. Yeah, and they have kind of a spiritual feeling about them of every man, liking everyone, like wanting to find out about the world.
Yeah, we were saying that, well, thank you for showing the chart, and we were saying that Nelson Mandela may have been a 9 because He certainly was a peace seeker and able to see others'
Yes.
life. Now tell me, how does the personality, you've written this wonderful book on the Enneagram of Death, and I wondered, how does the personality affect the dealing with a loss?
Yeah, well, in many, many different ways, and it gets complicated when you're talking about loss. But some of the types would want to kind of run away, maybe run away in different ways, possibly get busy after a loss so they don't feel it. And some might worry over everything so they don't feel it. Some people might veg out, become couch potatoes. And those are related a little bit to type.
So there are 3 quadrants, and you were talking about earlier that we represent all 3.
Yeah,
to simplify it a little bit,
Okay.
I'm in the heart-based quadrant,
Yeah, well,
right?
starting up at the head, so it kind of looks, easy. The head center, or the fear center, too, they're the same. That's my type. And observers, questioners, and adventurers are in that center. And then your center, the heart type, are the 2s, 3s, and 4s, which are the helpers, the achievers, and the romantics. And they deal with feelings more. Then there's the gut type, which is a 9, the peace seeker, and also the perfectionist, and also the boss.
Now, how do you, let's see, for me, dealing with a loss, thinking of myself as being the helper, I think when I have a loss, I tend to probably overgive and try to think about other people and maybe neglect my own feelings a little bit. What do you do, Heidi?
I'm trying to think. I definitely seek out friends and merge with other people. What would you say, Elizabeth, for a 9? Peace seeker?
We have an example in the book. These are stories, about 50 stories that people have written about their experiences with death. And some of them talk a lot. They'll tell stories, or that's one way of kind of avoiding going in through the feelings. And the most successful coping with loss maybe they've done these coping mechanisms for a while, but eventually they go into the loss and through it and out the other end. And those are the inspiring stories.
Now, how would a 5 deal with it?
The beautiful story in here, she just analyzes it. She analyzes how do I feel, and she goes to lots of different groups to find out, what is my psyche doing here, and yeah, she was successful at dealing with the loss of her child and grandchild at the same time.
Oh my goodness, yeah, that's a lot. Well, now here I am, and I'm listening to this, and I'm thinking, how would I go about figuring out what type I am, and is it hard, and what would you suggest?
Well, I suggest that you do it yourself. And sometimes people will come up to you and they say, well, I know you're a this or a that.
Right.
And that's not such a good thing, because it's really a privilege to be able to search your own personality out and then match it to what you've read or heard about the Enneagram.
Now, I know in your book that has sold many, many copies, the Enneagram Made Easy, and the book that I actually was introduced first with the Enneagram, and what I like about it, to let people know, is that it's amusing. And it's funny, and there are little things where you can check, little questionnaires and stuff. So you might go discover yourself through humor and your own drawing, which are really quite wonderful.
Yeah.
And from the Enneagram Made Easy, I know you did something called the dinner party, where you did all the personality types that ran in a circle and said this is how they would react at a dinner party. And it's so delightful. And so we wanted to play a little clip of the dinner party right now. And I want to say to everybody, this is a great book, The Enneagram of Death, with good stories. And it was a wonderful book for you to take a look at. And you might want to go to the Enneagram Made Easy first, and then pick up the Enneagram of Death. Yeah. And other books that you've written. So they can find you on the website, and we'll talk to you about where to find. Well, where do we find you on the website?
It's Wagele.com, Wagele.
Great, and we're going to be doing some more with Jan Conlon, talking to her about the Enneagram, and let's see the rollout of the dinner party.
I'm Elizabeth Wagele. and I'm going to tell you about the guests in my cartoon, The Dinner Party. First Enneagram type, the perfectionist, wants everybody to eat right, and notice there's not enough food groups represented here. All perfectionists are concerned with what's right and with fairness. The second Enneagram type, the helper, likes to give. This hostess says, "It's so great to feel needed." The third Enneagram type, the achiever, a workaholic, says, "I need to eat and run. I'm swamped." The romantic likes everything to be aesthetically pleasing, so cheap caviar might be shocking. Franny Forrest friends enjoy her ability to notice and create beautiful things. The fifth type, the observer, likes to be quiet sometimes and is thinking, "It's a talkative group. Good, that gets me off the hook." The sixth type, the questioner, is skeptical about why the achiever says she has to run. "She's leaving early. Doesn't she like us?" Adventurers like to keep their options open and like to have contingency plans. This one is thinking, first I'll eat, then take some pictures, then go to my class, then... This outspoken and direct asserter isn't fooling around when he says, "Pass it down, pass it all down here." This ninth type, the peace seeker, from the Enneagram Made Easy, is happy. "I feel so close to everybody." This peace seeker is particularly averse to conflict.
Wow, Heidi, that's fun, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm laughing because at the end when they said the 9 says, "I feel so close to everybody." That would definitely be me.
This has been the Grief Relief Show, hosted by mother-daughter team Drs. Gloria and Heidi Horsley. This show has been brought to you by the Open to Hope Foundation, helping people find hope after loss. Be sure to visit opentohope.com, where you can listen to radio programs, watch Open to Hope TV, read articles, and view books. You can also join Dr. Gloria and Dr. Heidi on Twitter and Facebook and put your events on their international calendar. Thanks for watching, and remember, others have been there and made it, and you can too.